to go into much more detail than I would be going into now. Just want to let you know. All right. Okay, so what do I have here? Well, this is the menstrual cycle. What's going on is obviously the females monthly, normally, are shedding the endometrial, the sort of portion of the endometrial lining that has become engorged with blood and glandular tissue. It's almost like a spongy mass at about that time. The reason for woman's period menstrual, the beginning of menses, as the official term is used, has to do with interrelationships between hormones. And we're going to discuss that in the lecture, not now. Okay, fine. But even before that, I want to point out a few things over here, because the menstrual cycle does coincide with what's going on with the ovaries in the ovarian cycle. Okay, what is going on? Right. Here you see, and I'll say this now, we have been for as long as I can remember, assuming that women are born with all the eggs she is ever going to have. There is, however, some recent studies that may say, you see how I'm hedging? Mm-hmm. Because I'm hedging on purpose. That may infer that possibly new ones may form. You heard how I hedged everything, which is the way the reports are. Okay, but forget about that. Let's assume that you're going to have all the eggs you're ever going to have. Now, some of them start maturing, okay, at puberty. And you're going to have these beginnings, what we call the primary follicles. All right. We're going to discuss the chromosome contents of these in the lecture. As I said, I could talk about this, but we're getting a lot of big deal stuff, technical stuff in the lecture. And these primary follicles will eventually become secondary follicles, which will eventually become something here called a Graafian follicle. A follicle, remember like we talked about the thyroid and the follicles? Well, basically a follicle is like a sac. That's what a follicle is. And here would be your secondary oocyte, and this is what they call a tertiary oocyte, oocyte. We usually put the two dots over the second O, which signifies a separation in the vowels, so that we don't, if we had two OO, you would want to say oocyte, right? But by putting the two dots above the second O, we separate the vowels, so OO. Like, did I ever tell you, like, for example, if you're in Hawaii, you know, the women sometimes wear that sort of like garment, which we've commonly called a muumuu. You ever hear that term? Yes. Muumuu. In Hawaiian, which has an awful lot of vowels, few consonants, what you have is spelled M-U-U, which is not pronounced mu. So it's M-U-U-M-U-U. So it's not moo-moo. It's, listen to this, moo-moo. You separate the two U's. Did you hear what I said? Moo-moo. And that's the way it's pronounced in Hawaiian. No, I don't know Hawaiian. I know a few words, but not too much. Okay. Although a lot of people say a lot of moo-moos wear moo-moos, if you get the implication. But that's a separate issue entirely. Okay. Now, this Graafian follicle here, as it's referred, which is Graaffian. Graaffian. Okay. And this here, this fluid here will contain loads of estrogen. All right? Now, let's go back. Let's go to this one. Okay? Let's go to this one. Okay. Here, you see this C over here? This is C over here. So this and this are identical. By the way, this usually forms a little bulge like if you had a big boil on your ovary. And then ovulation. So this would be ovulation over here. So this secondary oocyte is ovulated, which, see, here it's over here being ovulated, over here, which is going to be picked up. Here are the fimbriae. Here is the uterine tubes. Oh, son of a gun, here it is. Here they are. Holy mackerel, look at them go. All right. Now, if this is the menstrual cycle, obviously this woman is not going to be pregnant. Or even a little bit pregnant. All right? Fine. That was always a joke that my biology people and I used to kibitz about a little bit pregnant, because you can't be a little bit pregnant. But it was sort of an inside joke. All right, these are the kinds of jokes that we had, you know, like that, which to nobody would be funny, but we would go ha 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 ha. All right. Anyway, so now this is ovulated. See, it's going here and it's traveling over here. Now, what's happening next in the ovary? All right. Where this had been ovulated, you're going to have it infused now with glandular cells, which make this a sort of slightly yellowish in color. And the name we give to this is called the corpus, which means body. Like corpse. Corpus is Latin. Corpus luteum. Luteum. What is luteum? Yellow. Luteum, luteal, anything with that base means yellow. All right? So, yellow body. What does it do? It secretes progesterone. So the corpus luteum secretes the progesterone. What does the progesterone do? The progesterone maintains the endometrial lining of the uterus. Why do I need it? Well, all of this is going on with anticipation of fertilization of the egg. So this is what the female body is preparing every month, to have an egg fertilized, and you want that endometrial lining, which is really now spongy with blood, glandular material, to receive a fertilized egg after about the sixth day after conception. All right, we'll discuss that in the lecture. Okay. Now, but most of the time, the female doesn't become pregnant. Of course, somebody may know somebody who's always pregnant, you know. Like a woman has 20 children. I think there's somebody out there that had some reality show. I mean, these reality shows, I mean, doesn't have anybody have anything better to do than watch this crap on TV? All right. So somebody could say, boy, are they sexy. Nah, they did it 20 times in there. All right. All right. Anyway. Assuming there is no conception, assuming the female doesn't become pregnant, what's going to happen, and I will explain why in the lecture, this is going to deteriorate into a whitish looking body. It like degenerates into this whitish body called a corpus albicans. ALBA is white. Like there's an actress, Jessica Alba or something like that. And technically her name would be Jessica White if it was in English. Did you ever hear of the Italian composer Giuseppe Verdi opera? Very famous. In English, his name would be Joe White. I mean, sorry, Joe Green. Verde means what? Green. All right? Giuseppe, and Giuseppe in Italian is Joseph. So his name would have been Joseph Green if it would be an American. It sounds better if you're writing opera to be Giuseppe Verdi. Doesn't it sound a little more operatic? Right. Giuseppe Verdi. Hey, Joe Green. Right. Right. Okay. And that is what I've just given you is the ovarian cycle. Now, what's going to happen is that the lining is going to be, increased. Here's developing more. Now, if this deteriorates, you're not going to have the progesterone being secreted, right? And so what's going to happen? Since I said the progesterone maintains this endometrial lining, what's going to happen? The beginning of menses, which is considered day 1 in the menstrual cycle. Okay, and here, basically, is the onset of menstruation. And the whole thing begins again. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool.
No, should have never been invented.
What'd you say?